ancestry DNA, and is data the new gold? Welcome to the Elite Thinking Club. I'm Chris Jules Julian, and I'm joined tonight by my co-hosts, Mads, Liz, and Michael. You all right, guys?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so we talked about this. We talked about this before in a previous episode. It just sort of came up, and we were like, we need to do an episode on this. So, ancestry DNA, like people are paying to give a company your blood, in essence, handing over everything about you. And I know it shouldn't be that deep, but it kind of is that deep. And then it led us on to like this data being the new gold. Companies are literally knowing everything about you, from social media to platforms, and now ancestry DNA. Like, it's so valuable now. They just have this data on you. They know you better than you, right? I want to know what your thoughts are on that, and we all want to know what your thoughts are on that. And if you haven't done so already, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you can see future episodes and help others see this episode as well. But before we get into the episode, you cannot change anything unless you're willing to understand it, and you cannot understand it unless you're willing to explore it. A good debate doesn't get ugly. We may talk of things that make people feel vulnerable. Beliefs held sacred may be challenged because of life experiences, but we're not trying to make people wrong or to incite riot, but simply explore. So welcome to the Elite Thinking Club. Okay, we got Michael on the comments. So if anyone's got anything to say, go ahead and comment. But I'm going to hand this over to you, Liz, because I know that it was you that mentioned it in the previous episode that we should do an episode on it. So, and I know, you know, I love how you're
raring to go.
All right,
I hope I make sense. So yeah, I've had a couple of friends that have done this over the years, which actually made me sort of look into it, because they were like, oh, you should do the DNA ancestry. You know, I got 1% this, 10% this. I thought, okay. So kind of just did a little bit of research on it, and it just fascinated me, because our DNA is a valuable asset. It's our most valuable asset. It's our genetic makeup. And, you know, all these different companies that have set up where you can have these home kits where you do it at home and send off, literally sending off your DNA in the post. That's the most easiest way, one of the most easiest ways for them to harvest, you know, hundreds of millions of different people's DNA. And what they do with that DNA is they then can sell it on. And they're linked to pharmaceutical companies who can use your DNA. And China, everybody knows that in China, they harvest, you know, pregnant women's DNA, children's DNA, men and boys' DNA. They, you know, they are obsessed with data and, you know, harvesting DNA. And I just think that it's just a little bit scary as to why they want to have all of that. What are they doing with it? You know, and I just makes me feel a little bit iffy.
Okay.
So
yeah, I love that. And you know what? I never thought of it until you mentioned it. And then it did hit in me, and I was like, yeah, that is quite crazy how people are paying just to hand over their data. Now, of course, you give blood samples when you go to the doctors. You, if you're like having a baby, they obviously need to check your blood, check baby's blood. And I get that. But that's because you're in that process, right? Not paying.
But those tests also don't risk your people's privacy, whereas sending this off risks your privacy. You are literally giving your DNA and your data, your DNA data, you know, to these companies, and you know, it gets harvested. It's a massive thing, and I didn't know anything about it until I had a couple of friends that did this. They were actually bought the kits for Christmas. They bought these kits,
upselling it even better.
Of course, they used them, and then that's when they started telling me about it. So then I looked into it a bit more, and I was like, "What the heck's going on here?" So yeah.
So what is the end goal for these people having your data? That's why I all the research, I couldn't find what the problem was.
No, I couldn't find the end goal other than the genetic information is not anonymous, and it just gets sold on.
Right.
You know, literally they get it and they can sell it on. So these people are paying £100 for these kits, and then actually they're making more money off of you sending it back to them.
Yeah.
You know, they're to all of these other countries that are and companies that are wanting to harvest DNA and test and
it's actually really clever how they've done it. They've said
it's in exchange for your data.
Yeah, you pay us so we can make money off your blood or your data. Like, and this is what I was saying. Data is the new gold. It's like the value of data now in the world we live is like, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how why would you would need all that data? Like, is there like a market? Yeah. So obviously I am going to go.
Why do they need to know so much about us? For one example on it is one of the websites, which is called 23andMe. They have a $300 million deal with GlaxoSmithKline.
Right, which means what?
So you send them your DNA and they have that 300 million deal.
Oh, I see.
Pass that over.
Right.
I mean, if my DNA is worth 300 million, give me the 300 million and I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not paying £100 for the kit, so you go and save 300 million.
So not only are they, so they get 300 million from this other company. They get 300 million people to pay them.
Deal with GlaxoSmithKline, which is a pharmaceutical company. So that tells you that the pharmaceutical company is in need of our DNA for genetic testing or what have you, whatever they want to do with it. I don't know, but yeah.
I've got a statement from Shirley Wu saying that the raw data is not used for medical or diagnostic use.
Who's that? Who is she?
That is the director of 23andMe.
And she's saying
the New York Times actually were the people that put that out into the world, that 23andMe had the $300 million deal with GlaxoSmithKline in an interview that was done with 23andMe.
Yeah. I mean, facts are facts. And I know, Michael, you're one for facts. I know that you love to stand by facts a lot. If it's said, then it's said. If it's recorded, it's recorded. And yeah, you know, we did an episode on why facts matter. If you haven't done so, if you haven't done so already, watch that one and see why we're so adamant that facts matter. Isn't it like mis-selling something though? So if you done like the ancestry DNA, or you handed over your DNA in exchange for what? Them to examine who you are, just to confirm who you are, where you're from and your genetic makeup. Surely they've got to let you know that they are going to pass it on to other companies. Surely that's part of it, but no one really thinks of it, do they? They kind of just tick the terms and conditions box and crack on, don't they? I mean, who reads the terms and conditions box? Which brings me on to data being...
Just to confirm, it is on here. I have just gone on to fact check it. 23andMe gets $300 million boost from GlaxoSmithKline to develop new drugs.
Oh, on the same bit of paper I've got, number one says Shirley Wu, director of 23andMe, is explicitly admitted that its raw data are not for medical or diagnostic use. That's number one. Number three says your genetic information could be sold to the highest bidder, and then it blah blah blah. 23andMe has a $300 million dollar deal with Glaxo. So on the same bit of paper, it's saying that.
Well, of course, they're going to deny it, aren't they? Yeah, but they do. Yeah. So.
Wow. Just a quick one. Has anyone
team up
done
on
it?
genetics-driven drug research? So we are giving our DNA to these companies via these kits, and these companies are teaming up to do genetic-driven drug research with our DNA. Whereas, would you, if you were just walking down the street and they popped up on the street, you know, and put a sign out and said, "Come in, give us your DNA because we want to do this," would you do it? Would you give it away so freely?
How are they collecting your DNA? What, do you do, a blood sample or something?
They do the swabs. They just do swabs. They even do it in schools. So the DNA harvesting, it stretches further than just like ancestry.com and 23andMe. They'll do swabs in schools. Children, like in China, they do it with everybody. But yeah, we even do it in the UK. We do swabs, at schools, and it is a massive privacy thing as well, because it can be used against you, can't it? Your DNA can be used against you. So, I mean, it's a great thing for crime. We've come, using it, with regards to solving murders and things like that. It's an amazing thing. And it's also a great thing with all of the, wrongly convicted people. where it was before their time, and then DNA came out, and then it's like, you know, they've been able to be released from it and things like that. So there's a lot of positives to it, but the harvesting side and doing it so much constantly, you know, DNA and our data.
Have you
but all of this genetic stuff, it's a little bit icky.
Have you seen the film Interstellar, when like they're looking for other planets and they like harvest human cells and DNA, and then they just go and literally create a whole new
how do we not know they're cloning us with that DNA?
Well, this is going to get real deep, because it did occur to me earlier, like, if you haven't done so already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, you're going to like this one, right? So there's this like belief in like ruling elites, Illuminati. We touch on this a lot sometimes in previous episodes, but they're saying now that they're actually cloning people of influence and killing the originals.
Whoa,
so I don't know if you've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed, but like Eminem has started to regain this I don't know, this source of energy from somewhere. Like he's hard hitting better than ever before. I think his lyrics, I think the guy's a GOAT anyway. I think he's like greatest of all time. I do admire him, but he's just different now. There's something really odd about him. You know, it's something just not quite right. And if you look at previous, like videos of him or in his younger days, and then look at him now, it's, you know, is he cloned? People are saying it. He's a clone. And then now that I've said that, you can check it out for yourself. But yeah, he's a clone. And this
is what I mean. We could be walking around. You know, we could be going in coffee shops and clubs and bars, and we could be standing next to a clone. You could go on a date and it could be a clone. How do we know?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Like, we not know.
They don't want to get rid of the
we're not trying to scare people.
They want to keep the influencers, but they just want to clone them for whatever reason.
Have you watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger film? They've got a little tab underneath, right?
Yeah, they have to be recognized somehow. But obviously they can't be made unless they've got something to go off, which is DNA.
Do you know you're a clone if you're a clone?
No. Well, from what I've seen, you don't. But that's it.
Must be devastating to find out you are. It's like that Gemini Man, that film. I saw that the other day.
Yeah, same.
See, this is what I mean. You see these films, and then we're doing these things, you know, these genetic research and DNA harvesting. It's like, where are you trying? Like Michael said, what's the end goal?
So
where are we going with it?
It does make you question, if we're doing that now, like, are we DNA clones? Are we clones? Did they find Earth, place us here, and then just let us be us? And then naturally we've discovered it as well. It's just an ongoing thing, right?
So maybe we live for 2,500 years as a species, then they delete it all, and then all our clones get redone. And go, oh, we didn't like that one. We didn't like that version. It's going.
Yeah, it's a bit out there. It's a bit out there, isn't it? But
I hope I'm not a clone.
Yeah, when it comes to data, so, you know, people question, it isn't that deep, but then it does make you just think, like, how apps are free. They obviously have all this information on you, and I think it was Lucas that mentioned it in a previous episode. He said something about the social dilemma, how these apps collect or they just naturally, because you're using it, can collect so much data on you that it knows you better than you know you. Like, it down to the time you go on the app, down to what you're going to like, so they can just almost influence what you see now, that they know
what
you're
you buy and what they advertise to you.
Yeah, to the point where, like, they are actually able to influence how you think, because you're no longer thinking for yourself. So, you know, they did this in the past when it came to, you know, trying to use social media to influence votes. You would see more positive stuff about things you like and more negative stuff about things you don't like, because they were able to do that. And then there was that big uproar, like, are they making deals with these social media owners or directors to make sure that the people are almost hypnotized into seeing a certain person in a good light, rather than, because they can't they? They can.
It's quite scary to think of how much they can actually influence us.
Yeah, like, just like how they can censor certain things. They can also uncensor certain things, like if they really wanted to.
And they can misinform, and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but that's
and
not
they
to
know
say-
where we are because, you know, adding the little check-in tab,
yeah.
people check in, you know, so they're like, oh, they like that restaurant. Oh, they go there on a Tuesday night. Oh, they do that on that night. They
The
go
big
to that
brother
gym.
is real. Yeah, the big brother is real, for real.
I'm,
But-
I'm always on a friend locator, so if you had friend locator, you can always see where I am anyway. So me
I have mine
personally,
off.
but I actually have an app that if you've got the app and you're friends with me, you can see where I'm at 24/7.
That's scary though, because surely, like,
Are you supposed to know? Like, yeah. Do you
safety
want to know?
reasons. What if you've got a stalker that was obsessed with you, Michael, because of how
I
amazing
don't.
you are on here? Like, seriously,
I don't have one.
now they're going to know where you are.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, Michael, they're gonna know.
I live
20
in Grantham, Alexander Road. I don't
Right.
care.
No.
So, Michael, let me tell you about this. Yeah, there was a time when people used to go on holidays and they used to start posting online. Oh, we're off to so and so, or we're going to so and so. And obviously, being a soldier, we were told. Like, I remember doing a lesson on this as soldiers. So, just don't be so bait online. Basically, was the lesson. Don't be bait online. If you're going on holiday and you're taking snapshots of you whilst you're on holiday, it was just for to highlight just how easily it is for burglars to know when you're out.
Yeah.
You're literally letting everybody know, like, we're all the way halfway around the world. By the way, our house is empty. Now would be the perfect time to rob us. They say, like, obviously let people know you went on holiday, but do it when you're back from holiday. Don't do it while you're on holiday, because it's just so flipping bait. And yeah, let that be learned. So this location thing, like, if they know where you are all the time, Michael, like, you're away and they're like, oh, you're not home. You know what I mean?
It's just material things, don't it? I've got insurance. I just buy more stuff.
But it's 100%.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that.
24 hours a day, they are literally, their machines that are collecting all of everybody's data constantly, like your internet activity, you know, what restaurant you're going to, gym, where you're traveling to. Like, we get trackers on our cars. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
you know, the sat navs in your car saves all of where you go. So even if you know, did something and thought, oh, I can delete that, there's a trail on it all.
But we can't go backwards. There's no way we can go
No.
back. So, for example, my watch is synced to my phone and it has to have the location on, because I like to look at my watch and see the weather, you know, and it's got like health monitor. So I can see if I'm stressed or not, but it can't do that unless it's synced with the phone. And then the phone is obviously synced to the internet, and the internet is just out
It's
there.
like that. You sound like that song. You know, that Funny Bone song. You remember the skeleton one? The arm bone's connected to the shoulder bone.
Yeah.
Shoulder bone.
Exactly.
Even, you know what you were saying about cars. It reminded me of a story that I was told. Right, a friend of a friend had been to a restaurant and had 2 bottles of beer with his dinner, and thought, "Oh, I'm absolutely fine. I'll drive home." But anyway, on the way back, a car pulled out in front of him, and he lost control of the car, and the car crashed. So what happened, because it was such a modern car and it had like a whole system in it, because the airbag went off, the car had a system that knew where he was and called the police for him. Not funny.
See what I mean?
It called the police for him, so the police
Yeah, sorry, man. I laugh.
the police breathalyzed him and he lost his license.
You know what? Yeah, too right though, because someone that's been affected by drink driving, they won't find that as
Not
funny. Like,
He was fucking pissed off, but
yeah.
I
Well,
like
I don't.
if that car wasn't so in sync and like didn't know where he was and ringing the police and stuff, he would never have lost his license.
So it's a good thing then, really. He should have known better. He should have known better. Like, I'll laugh at it, and if anyone judge me on that, I don't care. Like, you know, behave yourself. That's funny. But if he should have known better, shouldn't he? It's a good thing.
Yeah. And
Really
if he
good.
had crashed into a tree and no one was around, it would have contacted the police and stuff, and he would have been safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, but what if it wasn't alcohol? Yeah, if it wasn't alcohol related and it was a crash and he was on his own, fair enough.
Yeah. So it would have been praising it. It would have been praising it, saying how good it was.
So
They should have-
He did wrong.
They should have breathalyzers in cars so that before you even get in the car, you have to do your breath, and then the car will work if you're not drunk. You know, well, not say drunk, but just
That would be amazing.
I think they had that in there. If you get done so many times, there is a thing that they can do.
I just don't get why it's not a thing. It should just be a thing. Now, obviously, it can't be. How do they measure it? Is it measured on not how much you've consumed, but what your body's tolerance is? Correct? Is that right? So your body will give off a certain amount of C2O, H2O, or carbon.
I've got a breathalyzer downstairs. Actually.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how they work, because then every car.
What?
Can you buy them to see if you're safe to drive?
Yeah, they have to have them in France. To drive in France, you have to do it. I think you have to have one in your car.
I wonder if you can buy them here, just so.
No, you can. Yeah, I bought one on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it effective?
Well, it works when I've been drinking.
You gotta love her, isn't it? You love her. I love her. I love you, Mads. You're amazing. Just do.
I just want to know if I'm out and I have a couple of wines, I want to be able to know whether I can drive or not.
Yeah, well, I was going out for like a mad weekend, and I didn't want to drive back if I still had alcohol in the system.
Well, yeah, it's not worth risking it, is it?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, in answer to your question, Mads, you can drive. It's just whether or not you should drive.
Yeah.
Well, you should.
Well, it's up to you, and it's the question. That's the moral question. Like, you can drive. It's just whether or not you should drive.
Should women drive? That is the question. I mean, no,
Oi, I know where you live. You just told me, and I'm going to get that app and track you down.
I need to. Just PM me. I'll
Michael, making friends. Love it. Yes. We'd like to know what you think. If you're watching right now, like, let us know anything we've touched on, whether it's like ancestry, DNA. Are we taking it? We can't go back, can we? In regards to location. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? You know, we may as well be injected with microchips. Have you seen Harry Potter when he put on like the map? You can see where everyone's footsteps are. You know, when they got that map and it like lets everybody know. It's like that, but on like a global scale. Someone somewhere knows exactly where everybody is if they've got a smart device, or which we all do, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who hasn't got one of these now? Who ain't got a mobile phone?
Yeah,
Can't even call it a mobile phone. Scatter them around, Michael. Put them in 4 different locations. Strap one to a cat and a dog, and just let them run free. They can't track you.
Oh, just in this room alone, I've got a VR system, an iPad, a laptop, a PC, a phone, a Kindle. That's stuff I can see right now, so it would be tracked.
So if anyone's watching Michael when he's on his 24/7 location, just so you know, in that room alone, you can make a killing. You rob him. Nah, I'm joking, mate. I'm winding you up, but that's serious as well. Like, don't promote online. Don't be bait. Don't be bait on where you are. I was so paranoid about that before that I actually didn't have my location on. Like, I just turned it off. I didn't want people knowing where I was. I valued my privacy. And not only that, though, it got to a point where you kind of, like, I feel like moving forward, you just kind of surrender to it. I mean, yes, I use Facebook. Yes, I'm on Instagram, you know, now like TikTok, and not that TikTok's got location, but you get what I'm saying. It's almost like my watch has got the location on all the time. It's like, there's no point resisting it if that's the way the world's going.
Yeah.
You know, definitely won't know
It's
what.
almost like you're trapped. It's almost like you can't get away from it.
Which is mad. I had this conversation today with a friend. I called him up, and then we said to him, ain't it nuts, yeah, how like we're kind of born into the system. I didn't really choose this. I don't, because there's some things I don't actually like about it, but I have to do it. Like, why do I have to do it? So it's almost like government is a religion that you're already born into having to worship. And I don't mean that in a I'm not, you know, just exploring here. But everyone kind of does it. And then he said to me, well, Jules, there are some people called Freeman or free man of the land or something like that. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of that? Free man of the land. So if you don't agree with it, Jules, you don't actually have to do it. You can speed. You can speed in the car. And if a policeman pulls you over and you say to him, just so you know, officer, I'm a free man of the land, and every minute that I'm detained, I will charge you. Because they can't they can't do that because you haven't agreed to the laws of the land, or you are a free man of the land. Now, don't get me wrong, that comes with its ups and downs. Like, that means you're not entitled to the NHS. You can't live certain ways. You have to go private with everything, basically. Take your own rubbish out, stuff like that. But when I mean that, I mean, like, obviously take your own rubbish out, but I mean actually dispose of it at
yourself.
Yeah. But it does make sense. The only issue with it is that not everyone's doing it. So you do become a bit of a loner. There's only like a few thousand of them in the UK.
I think that might become a thing, though. I think, you know, with how things
it's
going.
been out for so long that people have tried to do it. It just doesn't work because the government doesn't recognise it. You can argue all you want that,
and they've made the system. They've made the system was made so that it would be harder for us to be free.
Yeah. And when they say the system, like, quote what I said earlier, the government is a religion. Like, you vote for your person in power. It's like you're voting for your pope or whoever, and you literally worship it. So whatever it says, you will do. So if your religion is not to drink, not to smoke, not to eat pork, you're agreeing to those rules of life. And that's the religion you follow. So in essence, the government you choose, when they come out with the laws, it's like a religion. Like, you're agreeing to laws. Yeah. And then that makes me think, but I don't really like this religion anymore. You know how
I haven't liked it for a long time.
Yeah. And I think I speak for a lot of people. Like, when you look at it in that context, it's like, I don't agree with this shit. Well, some of it. Now, if you don't,
but we can't. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about it because we keep changing the PM, and every single PM is another just waste of time. It costs too much money to go somewhere else, somewhere that you like better. But I'd rather move to Texas and live in Texas, but I don't have the money to move to Texas, so I'm stuck here.
Yeah. And that's like 95% of the country there, Michael. And do you think that's for a reason, though? Like, they set it up that way so you can't go to Texas?
I actually spoke to my friend the other day, and they actually said to me, I feel like a prisoner in my own country. And I just think that is, I think a lot of people feel that way. And I can relate to that.
My mentor said once to me, Jules, the biggest prison, the best prisons are the ones you don't know you're in.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing is, like, we at the Elite Thinking Club, we're just exploring, obviously, and like that, whoever's watching and you've got something to say it, like, speak your truth. Because there are some people who defend this, like, they defend the system. It's like, well, can you imagine a life without it? Now, I don't know where that comes from, but I think that comes from fear. Saying, can you imagine a life without it? It's almost like saying, like, you're not willing to try it because you think it's going to be all doom and gloom. But imagine if it's not. Imagine if it's like so much better. When in times of need, people come together, like, we figure out better and more effective ways. Now, if there is better and more effective ways, wouldn't you try it?
Yeah, but what steps do you take? Like, so how do you try it? There's no simple way to try and change the situation we're in at the moment. We're governed by a government who are always going to be crap. So where are the stepping stones to get out of the prison we're in?
But that's the point. Go on, Liz.
I think there needs to be a massive revolution and change it all, overturn the whole thing. And I do think the tide is turning a little bit.
I can feel it.
I think it's coming.
I can feel it. Definitely. One thing I'm definitely looking forward to is the evolution of cryptocurrency. I think that's the first step for people to take ownership of their money, because obviously we all know that banks, like centralized banking system, actually created the world we kind of live in. Everything evolves around it. Everyone has to work to get it. And the only way you can spend it is when they tell you. So you're limited to how much you can spend per day for a reason. You have to ask them if you can have your money. They tie you into debts and mortgages that you spend your lifetime having to pay back. So they've created it very well. However, with crypto, it's very different. You take full ownership for your currency, for your money. Like, you can do it, but you just got to do it yourself. And I love that. And I actually think, like, you know, for centralized banking, right? you need a house address. That's why there's so much homelessness. But for decentralized banking, like crypto, you just need an email address. Can you imagine the amount of poverty we would solve if people just needed an email address? You could say to a homeless person, mate, I can give you $1,000 right now, and it will be safe in a crypto account. Now you can spend that crypto account as you want. You could probably get yourself a job, because if jobs started paying people in crypto, they could actually set themselves up for success, rather than can't give you a job because you don't have a home. That means you don't have a bank account. They're fucked. Excuse my language. But when they have a crypto account, which is doing their own banking, it can work. And I think that's going to be one of the first shifts in the new way of living. I'm looking forward to it. I'm all for that. It's just centralized banks are going to do whatever they can to stop that. Do you know what I mean? They are going to be like, no way can we let
and to scare people into having it as well, or even looking into it. I've seen it already.
So the problem is, though, the more that crypto becomes more mainstream, the more it's going to be sucked on, just like normal banks. So
there is
any crypto wallet you have, the people where you get it from will charge you to have it, will charge you to get it out, will charge you to spend it. So maybe, I'm not saying it is, but maybe this is just to get us all suckered in to actually have crypto stuff, and then they're just going to charge us loads to have it.
Yeah, but if you don't, this is the point I was just making. People will defend the current system, saying what I said they'd say. And there are those people that are willing to just try a change. If you don't try a change, we will have to continue the way we've been doing it. And by the sounds of things, not a lot of people are happy about it. If we don't change, at least we can try and then see. And if it doesn't work, we'll go back to the old ways. But I doubt we'll go back to the old ways, because the new way sounds flipping awesome. It's just whether or not people are on board. Oh.
And the freedom that comes with that as well, you know.
Oh yeah, you have a crypto account. You can withdraw like 50 grand in a day. You try and do that in your bank. Walk to your bank and say, "Yeah, I just want to, buy a flipping Lamborghini." They're gonna be like, "Oh well,
you got to have ID. We need to have a meeting. Nobody's available right now. Can you come back in 7 days' time?"
Oh, for
and
real.
then we'll have to draw it out. How do you want it? 50s? Oh, would you mind 20s? No, I want 50s.
With Apple Pay, you can go up to any amount, can't you?
Exactly.
So you just Apple Pay it.
Yeah, but the Apple Pay still works on the fiat currency, so pounds, yen, dollars.
I don't think there's no cap on Apple Pay.
No, but what I'm saying is, Mads, though, it's like there's no cap on Apple Pay, because it's still within your. If you don't have the money in your account, no, wait, say that again.
There's no limit for Apple Pay. You could literally spend like 100 grand if you wanted. You could Apple Pay 100k.
Really? Surely there'd be some sort of security thing though, where they would double check and stuff like that.
Security on Bitcoin.
I'm not against that. I'm for that, but I just want to understand.
Is it Apple Pay where you go and do your face? Yeah, there's no limit.
I never knew that.
As far as I know,
why are banks so tight then? Because this is what I don't understand. If Apple Pay can let you do that, why do you have a limit on like your cards and your withdrawals of cash?
If your card is stolen, it's overly done.
But that's what I don't get, because Apple Pay is linked to your bank card. So if you can just go and pay something for 100 grand, it's still your bank's going to be verifying it with Apple Pay. So therefore, why can't you just go and do that with your card anyway?
Yeah, for real.
The bank then ring you up and say, "Oh, are you currently at a car garage buying 100 grand car?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So if you can buy a car for like 80 grand on Apple Pay, why can't you just do it with your?
I'm gonna go try buy a car with Apple Pay tomorrow. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna walk in and say, "Do you take Apple Pay? I want to buy that car." And they'll probably look at me like I'm a freak, but let's go.
Let's do it. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm not actually going to buy the car. I've already got a car, but
Interesting though. It is interesting.
On my debit card, I can spend 20 grand on my debit card, or if I get a Premier account, it's 50 grand.
Interesting. Did not know that. I thought there was like a set limit a day that you can spend.
I could be wrong, but I've been told
20 grand.
I think you can withdraw a set amount from the cash machine each day. So it's like a daily limit, 350 or 500 pound, I think it is.
Well,
Yeah.
looking into that, 100%.
Yeah.
Love that.
Interesting.
That
Yeah.
is. Because then obviously the reason why I say that is because
But the 50
there was a time-
grand
there was a
would still
time if
have to be
everyone-
withdrawn from the actual bank, wouldn't
yeah, because
it?
if everyone went to the banks and said, I want to withdraw all my money, the banks can't do that.
The banks would be buggered.
That's
They
an
would be
agreement you
buggered.
have when you open an account.
Right. But with crypto, you can withdraw all of your money. No one's going to question that. But then where would you withdraw it
You
to?
can
'Cause-
with a bank note. I can transfer all my money digitally on a bank. The only reason why you can't get it out of an actual bank is because they don't hold that much cash in their bank.
Yeah.
If you warn them, you can get as much money as you want out your account.
Yeah, they have to have the days to get the money, don't they? They have to have like
Yeah.
3 days or
I
5
watched
days.
someone the other
something.
day. He got $250,000 out of his account in $1 bills, and it took about a week to get it sorted.
Whoa.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because we've got a really, really important comment.
yeah.
Oh, I saw it. It's
What is
not
it?
a real one, Mads. It's not real.
Yeah, I didn't see any comment.
About herpes.
I actually first read it and thought it was to do with the DNA thing, and then
What is
thought,
it? What is
no.
it? Who's checking the comments?
Someone's offering to sell our herpes, Jules.
What's their name? What's their name? Name and shame. Who is this?
Ernest Dilly.
Dilly.
Yeah.
Who the hell's Dilly?
That's weird. I didn't see that. for some
Publicising
reason.
this amazing testimonial of my life because I knew of many people who would still be having the same issues. Suffering
Is this
from
one of your friends?
bias
Is this one of your
from-
friends?
I don't know. I'll have to check the comment later. That's brilliant. Probably someone on the
I
wind
don't
up.
know an Ernest Dilly, so
Oh.
it's not one of mine.
If any of you have got herpes, own up. Come on.
No, never had anything like that in my life.
Oh, I have.
But, you
I
know.
blocked them anyway.
Have you really?
Yeah.
You blocked him, Michael.
They're trying to
Did it-
fucking sell herpes shit.
Okay, fair enough.
You might need them one day. You don't know.
I'll go to my doctor.
Doctor, I'm a Zajiki. Thank you for that. I know that if I ever get herpes, I know where to go.
Brilliant. We're attracting that kind of crowd. We're winning.
Well,
Must have
that's
been the
actually
DNA.
good. We must be big enough that we're attracting scumbags like that.
One thing's for sure. I don't think they're going to want our DNA. They're going to be like, these four are onto us. Their clones will be onto us. We only want people that conform.
I don't know. I like China wants everybody's DNA. That whole TikTok. Do you remember that whole TikTok story where America banned TikTok for a certain amount of time last year, I think it was, because they didn't want China, because basically all of the data was being captured by China.
Yeah,
and
I
they
heard
were
about
using
that
it.
rumor.
It was
Yeah,
faces and stuff. So it was banned for a while. Yeah.
So I have a real out there theory, like Nostradamus theory. This is like sometimes when I sit there, I don't smoke weed, by the way, because I just don't think I need it to get this deep. Sometimes I just sit and think it, right? My theory is that aliens are humans from the past. When people see aliens, it's because they're coming back from the future to analyze how we're going about our lives to ensure that they have the future they have. My theory is this deep, that the human race gets wiped out by a self-sufficient country like China. They don't need the rest of the world. So they did a massive cleanse and they're the only ones that survived. As evolution goes, because they've got the most tech and obviously they speak the most languages. They have the one child each rule and they're quite ruthless. They evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve. And eventually they become the aliens that we now see here. And yeah, that's my theory on the future and how us as a human race survive. Basically, we're all just Chinese are left.
Well, thanks for that.
What do you
I'm
think
not
to
sure
that?
how I'm going to sleep tonight now.
It's just a theory. It's just I've sat and thought about it for a while.
I don't believe in aliens, so I'm quite safe with that.
I do.
I do. But anyway, let that sink in for a bit. And if you haven't done so already, hit the like, hit the subscribe button and support the channel. Yeah, we have a whole episode on that. We're going to have to do a whole episode on that. What
I've
do
got
you
a mate
think?
who's doing a diploma in ufology.
A diploma in
Yeah.
UFOs.
Ufology.
And
Is it-
what is that?
It's the study of UFOs, basically.
Oh my goodness, is that an actual thing?
Yeah, diploma.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That must be interesting.
Yeah, he said he's about halfway through it. It's, he's enjoying it.
Hold on to tell everyone, Michael. Why just tell everyone?
Eh?
I'm joking. It's not me. It's not me.
He's
Yeah, that is interesting.
trying to say it's him that's doing it.
Yeah.
UFOs. Do you believe in UFOs?
No.
But he's doing a diploma on it. Surely
I
it's got to
don't.
be a thing.
I don't
Yeah.
believe it. Just because someone believes it doesn't mean like, you can get caught in anything.
I believe in aliens and UFOs, and I actually believe what I just said. My theory is on aliens and UFOs.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
we dig
that-
up like ancestral stuff. You know, when we go to like dig up the Saxons and the Vikings and look at old ruins, Aztecs and that. I believe aliens are doing the same, but they just come back and see us living, making sure that someone gets offed when they
I
need
wonder
to.
if they think. I wonder if they think we're strange. I
They
wonder if we-
definitely think that you're strange, Liz.
Oh, thanks, Jules.
It's
Yeah.
good to be strange. It's good to-
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. Proud of it. Proud of it.
You guys have to watch Tomorrow's War on Netflix. You'd love that.
Is it to do with aliens?
Yeah, but they're fighting aliens in the future, so they come back to the past from the future to recruit soldiers to get people to help them fight. So so the future soldiers come back to the past to bring people back to the future to help fight the aliens. It's really good. I'm not explaining it very well.
No, you
Yeah,
explained it.
It sounds
accent.
like they've pinched your theory there a little bit. You might want to do a little copyright
Well,
case there.
Yeah, I mean, this is when it goes even deeper. So obviously, all these world cover-ups, conspiracies, they had to happen because the course of the world has to go a certain way in order for them to exist. And if it doesn't go that way, they can't exist. So that's why I think they come back to ensure that we do what needs to be done. You know what I mean? It's just a yeah.
Yeah, but actually, we need to watch the film because I don't want to spoil
Yeah,
it.
don't tell us. Yeah,
No.
don't tell us.
So, you know, on that though, if back to what the original conversation about cloning people is real, there's people who believe that lizards live amongst us. And there's like YouTube videos of like actually seeing these lizards around, like they are about, like they have moments when they're just sort of
Are there
looking like
actually
humans.
videos?
Yeah, so you can actually see them like moving around, observing, and just like, and then at a glimpse, you can see like the actual lizard head. Like you see there, it's like
I
Men
need
in
to
Black
find
type
these
stuff.
videos. I
Yeah,
need
it's
to
like
find
Men
these videos.
Seriously, and they're just like living amongst us and that, but they're doing it. There's not a lot of them, but they're just doing it in like real high value places, like real high value targets, like sitting amongst tables with presidents and just influencing movements. Someone even, I think David Icke even tried to present this lizard ruling elite theory that
I heard about that, and I heard about like the Queen, people calling the Queen and other people lizards, like royal family lizards and stuff.
yeah. And then like
Mad.
the human race is like enslaved in the system that we already talked about to make the lizards live the best life.
Wow.
Yeah, so they created it so that the human race, yeah, serves them.
Do you know what though? I love like delving into all this stuff because I just think what we are taught and what we know just seems so like plain sailing, and you know, we kind of get dumbed down and don't be too imaginative, don't be too creative. But then I think when you actually dig a little deeper and you find all these little things out and these videos, these documentaries and these people like David Icke and stuff, it's like I'd actually think it'd be more interesting if the world was a little bit like all of this, you know, just makes it a little less
And what you just said there, Liz,
straight-laced and boring.
like I totally agree with. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So when people say life is just about going out and getting a job and, you know, having a
It's
family and
not.
just settling down and
You
just
know that whole
everyone does
system-
that. That's what I'm
You
saying.
know, that whole system was created from the Industrial Revolution
Okay.
with regards to the indoctrination at schools. So going to school at a
Bless
certain
you.
time, keeping them there until, bless you, 5, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 5. It was to get children ready to work, like people to work in factories, like in the Industrial Revolution. It was all to,
Yeah.
that's what it was created for. So
they want workers. They want workers, not thinkers.
it was, yes. So,
and that's the point. Like, if it's the life that used to be the attraction, like just get a simple life, just do it basics,
get a job,
basics.
pay your bills, live in your house.
Yeah, and you'll live your best life. It sounds too good to be true. Yeah, it sounds too good to be true. And that's when you need to question it. Why is it so like simple? Why are you just happy with that?
Also, look at this day and age. So many people are like zapped, bored, like they feel like they don't have their niche. They don't know what, they're like, oh, I had this dream, but I couldn't follow it because I had to get a job and pay the bills and do this. So it's like so many parts of our soul gets diminished because of the system.
Yeah.
And you've got mental health issues more so rife in this day and age than before. So it's like, we're clearly not doing something right. The system isn't working, is it? It doesn't work for everybody. Some people are okay with the security and with that. Some people get so indoctrinated in it, it's fine.
And that's why when we went into lockdown, a lot of people felt rejuvenated and they felt like they actually enjoyed it because the system was brought to a halt. And instead, you actually got to just live. You got to be what you are, which is the true version of you rather than what you're forced to be. So I said this today earlier with my friend I was having the same conversation with. I said to him, bruv, like I feel like I'm not supposed to be doing this. Like I'm not supposed to be doing this work thing. Like we're not supposed to be doing, I can't explain it too well, but I felt like I'm forced into it. Do you know what I mean? And that creates natural resistance. And I think deep down we all have it. Why are we so forced? Like, why is there such a resistance? And it's because you're not actually supposed to be doing it. And that's back to what my point about, when you're born into the religion of government, you're fucked from birth. Like, I know it sounds crazy.
You are the minute you're registered.
It's just a bit out there, but hey, elite thinking out here, I love it. So here's one for you. This could be a completely separate one, but I'll just like take it there. I watched a documentary the other day on mushrooms.
Oh my God, I was literally going to start talking about this.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're fucking awesome. Excuse my French, mushrooms are a whole nother thing. It's a whole, so basically, let me get it right. Mycelium is
psilocybin.
Psilocybin. Okay, are you sure, Mads? I think it's mycelium.
I don't know. There's a few different types of.
Check it out. End of the day, this is like the most alien thing on the planet, but it's the most. It's a whole thing of itself. Like, oh man, I'm not even explaining this too tough, right? But basically, mushrooms have the power to. Oh man, I don't even know where I'm going.
Elevate.
It opens up your consciousness.
Psychedelic, and they elevate you.
It widens your consciousness, and it opens you up to like a spiritual realm, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it does. And any psychedelics, DMT, LSD, ayahuasca, mushrooms, all of them are being used in clinical trials at the moment to treat depression, anxiety. And it's been proven that it's effective, and it's more effective than any prescription medication.
Absolutely believe that, 100%.
So I will.
Do we do an episode on this? Shall we just take a break and we do a bit of research, come back, and we just do a whole episode on mushrooms? Like, because I honestly,
can we actually like get together and do some?
Yeah, we
like
should
as
record
an
a
experiment. Yeah, let's do it.
Do it, but you shouldn't. If you want to do it for like mental health purposes, you should do it like under the with a clinician or like a shaman. It's funny you brought that up, Jules. I'll let you know how I go, but I'm actually going next week to a shaman.
Exciting.
Have DMT.
Exciting. So
Mads,
you let us know how
along.
you let us know how it goes, Mads. 100%.
You know, I'll let you know. I'm really excited. It's a whole process. I'm going to have about 10 hours worth. I'm only going for a couple of hours. DMT only lasts about 20 minutes.
And you're going to have 10 hours worth?
Well, not in one go.
I was going to say.
No, like over a period of time. Like,
can you bring some home?
I mean, I shouldn't really be saying this because it's illegal, but.
Well, you know what? Well, that's again like the religion, isn't it? It's only if you follow the religion.
In America, there are people that are approved to prescribe it to patients.
So one thing's for sure, there are people out there who do microdosing. So, you know, if you take too much, yes, you can have one mega trip. But some people just take the edge off life. They do a little bit of microdosing, and it, you know, it doesn't harm the body. In actual fact, I remember now, mycelium is got the power to create new nerve connection. No, that's not correct.
Oh, yeah, it does.
What's the things in the brains? What's the things that connect?
I want to do this. I feel like
Michael, keep going. What is it called?
Synapses.
Synapses. So basically, you create new pathways of things that fire in the brain. Well, I can't even get my words out tonight, but the mycelium basically goes, you consume it and it does its magic, because what mycelium is actually under the ground, is actually a network of loads and loads of connections, neuro pathways. But believe it or not, the trees and the surrounding growth talk to each other through these connections. So beneath us is a whole network, like a human brain. It's fucking, excuse my language, talking to each other and preserving the earth. And I know that sounds way out there and deep, but it's the truth. It's got the power, so you can consume that and have the power.
I was watching loads of stuff on it. I have been recently.
I find all this kind of stuff so interesting.
Honestly, yeah. Let's do a whole episode on it. So if Mads, you do what you got to do, and we will cut away, and then, you know, in a couple episodes time we will do it. So if you haven't done so already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, so you don't miss that episode for sure. What's that, Mads?
Definitely need to give us feedback on that.
Yeah.
With it. I'm really excited. I start next week.
Does it cost a lot of money? Can I just ask, like, out of curiosity?
I've been really lucky to find a man that just wants to help people in their journey and improve health.
Wow, that's real shit.
On your
he needs to know me. He needs to know me.
And on your location services on your phone.
He's just basically wants to give people back.
We all need a friend like your friend, Max. The man with the bag.
We need him in our life.
You know what? I think it's just been one of them things where I've just been lucky to find him, because I found him through someone that I went on a date with, who I had a conversation, who it didn't work out, but we stayed friends, and I had a conversation with about it, and he recommended him. And yeah, so it's just gone from there. I think it's just been like, you know, like sliding doors. Because I wanted to go to the Amazon to do an ayahuasca retreat, and so, but I didn't realize that you don't really need to go all the way to the Amazon. You can do it here, and ayahuasca is essentially the same as DMT or LSD or any other psychedelic.
If you do go, I'll come with you.
I have heard people, you know, it's a one-way ticket, and you might not like the destination. It unveils. It isn't about like having a real good time. Apparently ayahuasca lets you see who you are. Yeah, it's going to show you who you truly are beyond your ego.
Sometimes we need to see that, though. I think that might sort a few people out.
Shed the ego, and you will see
shadow
who you
work,
truly
isn't
are.
it? It's like doing the shadow work and coming out with the light work.
Just be pre-warned.
What it is. And a lot of people, when they go through it, most people do like a type, I can't remember what it's called, but the type of psychedelic that takes you into like a 6-hour trip. DMT is only 20 minutes. If it's really terrible, like it's going to be over in about 20 minutes, half an hour. But a lot of people have said that they've had like an ego death.
Well, they say that when you do ayahuasca, you purge.
You do, yeah.
So you
I
vomit.
watched a thing on that. They had like this lady had a little retreat in a cabin in the woods, and she had all these buckets next to everybody because within the 20 minutes or however, they were all purging into the buckets.
Hours, like the whole night, like 12 hours.
Really?
Well, they keep giving them more doses as well.
Yeah, topping them up. Yeah.
Yeah, ayahuasca was really intense, but I was gonna say, yeah, some of the experiences that people have had from it, although people have also died from doing ayahuasca.
Ooh.
You ever sometimes get a ringing in your ear, like random, just like
I had that earlier. It just
I
happened.
don't know what that is. Yeah, it's like
a lot of people have been experiencing that.
Apparently, it's the last time you hear that noise.
So the last time you hear, I've heard that too, Michael. It's the last time your ear will ever hear that frequency, that pitch.
Yeah.
You can't hear that pitch again.
So when we get older, and if we play that tone, only like under 23-year-olds hear it or something.
Yes. I've seen that video as well. So only certain, like when you reach age 14, you won't ever be able to hear that sound. Only if you're younger. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, so they play it at shops. I was actually working the door at a event, and the next door neighbour was like a proper dickhead. So he had this thing, turn it on, and like loads of people were saying about how they're getting headaches. So the sound guy actually had to go find it, and he broke it in the end because
the guy was playing.
The next door neighbour was trying to like stop us from being there.
Wow. Some people. He needs to do some ayahuasca. He needs to do some shadow work. Have a word of himself. Purge that evil.
He needs to get hit by a bus.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, he does in a metaphoric way. Yeah.
Hit by a horse.
We've talked about a lot tonight. Like we've gone way off of how like ancestry DNA and data is like the new gold. But yeah, for real. If you're thinking about it, then do a bit of research first. I would highly recommend you.
Don't do it at home on your own.
Nah.
Absolutely not. You need to find a professional.
Yeah.
Professional.
A professional.
I think we'd be all right if we all went together.
No,
if 4 of us were together with your mate, I think we'd be fine.
Yeah, although it's kind of a bit of a journey. I don't think you're supposed to do it with people that you know. That's what I've been told before. You do them in ceremonies as well, but I'd rather.
It does sound a bit fishy.
Yeah.
With people you know, you have to do it with strangers.
And also, sometimes it isn't even about like the journey or the destination. It's who you're going with that makes it fun, right? Sometimes it's just who you're with.
Fun though, it's supposed to be. It's like a medicine. It's not supposed to be fun.
Well, the only person I'd do it with is my brother Steve. I wouldn't do it with anybody else. I don't trust anybody.
Like, it depends on what kind of
Michael.
You are vulnerable though. You are very vulnerable because when you, if you will, leave your physical world, the physical body, you just go into the mind, right? That's the only place that you're going to be at.
Powerful.
You're going to be in the mind and only the mind. You're not going to be in control of your body, are you? It's going to do what it's going to do.
Well, you have someone there who's ideally you need.
Yeah, I would feel quite vulnerable in that situation.
So you'd rather be with complete strangers who you don't really know than with people.
No, I'd rather be with people who I do know.
Yeah, I was going to say, think about it.
Yeah, I'd rather be with people who I do know. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't do it on my own because I think I would.
If you're going to do it,
I'd overthink.
Yeah, if you're going to do it,
with someone who's experienced and trained in dosing the right amount and like guiding you through the process.
Oh yeah, I'd need somebody like that there too, but I wouldn't mind being like with you guys and like a shaman or whatever his name is, shaman.
Yeah, we could do shots of it, but it'll just be like that, ching, and just like God damn it, ancestry DNA. We could just talk about everything. Talk about anything.
But we'd be purging all of it out in buckets. We could sell it for 300 million ourselves.
We'd have to record it.
Bucket of my DNA.
We should record it, 100. Yeah. But no, obviously, Mads, it's going to be very, very sentimental to you. It's very, it's close, isn't it? So, yeah, do what you got to do, and then when you come back, let us know how it went. And then if that's too strong, let's just do mushrooms. They're magical.
I think mushrooms are worse than DMT.
I don't know.
I've never done any of that sort of thing, so this is
Never
all new
have I.
to me. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to be.
So
that
have
one.
you heard about the stoned ape theory? We're going a long episode tonight, but it's great. The stoned ape theory, how we actually
No.
came to our intelligence. Yeah, so basically, like, we shouldn't be as we are. So mushrooms are like aliens. Yeah, the mycelium is a living thing. It's not a plant, and it's not an animal. It is mycelium. It's a mushroom. And the stoned ape theory is that we as apes stumbled across these mushrooms, ate these mushrooms, and they gave us intelligence because it was creating new neural pathways in our brains, hence why we became so intelligent. And what we did was just keep eating these mushrooms because it obviously enhances the brain, and that's how we get new thoughts. So that's the stoned ape theory. We were evolving with these mushrooms to create us as how we are now. That's what the theory is. No one can prove this, but from what we know, what mushrooms can do, and from what we know where we came from, the evolutionary jump needs to be influenced by something.
I can go with
That is for a whole nother episode, and we're definitely going to do an episode on that, seeing as no one knows anything about that. But if you do know anything about that, then definitely hit in the comments and let us know. Right, guys, do you have anything else you want to talk say on tonight's topic of discussion, which is ancestry DNA and data being the new gold, or anything we've talked about tonight?
I'm just going to double check on the comments. No, other than Michael saying anyone tried it. So we haven't had anyone admitting that they have or telling us their experiences. So, no.
So we're all good then. Well, all right. Well, I guess we're going to call it a night there. What an interesting episode, as always. Really, really interesting. Yeah. God. Well, thank you guys for watching. And again, if you haven't done so already, hit the like and hit the subscribe and help support the channel. So from me and everyone else here at the Elite Thinking Club, everyone everywhere, peace and love.
Bye.
Yep.